Whoa, it's the illusion reporting from somewhere on spaceship Earth. This is sort of a homeschoolers video. So those who homeschool or those who think they might want to homeschool, this video is for you. So today it's we had a big storm yesterday, so you can see there's snow up on the local mountains, which is super nice. So I wanted to talk to you about homeschooling. So I come from the unschooling, homeschooling path, right? Which is you teach the basics and you stay pretty consistent with the basics, but you also allow the child to figure out what they're interested in. So Owl on his own, and I've talked about this in other videos, but I'm going to kind of focus in on this a little bit. Owl on his own decided that geology was his trip. And I didn't have anything to do with him deciding that geology was his trip. What I did and all around our house is I peppered the house with books about different subjects, whether they be history or science. And the first thing he sort of gravitated to on his own was the periodic table, right? So Owl began to be interested in the periodic table. And so once I found that he was interested in it, I found some cool educational materials about the periodic table. And what I would say to people that are going to embark on the homeschooling adventure is there is an incredible amount of fun educational materials for your child to choose from. So I bought it. So there's this line of sort of superhero comics that are highly densely educational, but put in a superhero fun kind of way. And so I got him one about the periodic table, and it's, I don't know, it's about these superheroes exploring the periodic table and making an adventure out of it. So he got super into the periodic table, and I reinforced it with some drier books about the periodic table. But even you can get these sort of teenage books that are super visual but are denser with information. So I put those around and he would dig into those about it. And his journey with the periodic table led him to geology. And I don't really know where that interface was. All of a sudden, it just happened where he became super into geology. And then I began to put other books about geology around, and he became super interested in minerals and rocks and crystals and all of that kind of stuff. So I narrowed that down, and then I got him this rockhounding guidebook. And that's when it sort of just took off a life of its own. And up to that point, most of his interests had been driven by my interests or things that I thought he might be interested in. And then it became this rockhounding thing, and the geology around it became his sole interest, to the point where I got him this rockhounding book, and he began to plan missions to where we go rockhounding. And I've been uploading our rockhounding missions into the thing. But like, I don't think people quite understand is like I'm just the driver. Like today we are heading out to a place in the desert about an hour away because he needs to go get some minerals. I think agates and cherts and something else. I don't know. He's fully like into it. And he plans out his own missions and looks on the maps and figures out where they are and plots trips to go get these minerals and rocks. And he's super invested in it, to the point where, like, when I get up in the morning, he's sitting there reading his books about geology, just like he used to read his stuff about superheroes or Legos or anything like that. He switched it all into this educational material. And I guess what I'm getting at is I didn't have anything to do with it. I just taught him how to read and do math. And I'm super interested in history and topography. So I have a lot of maps around and a lot of history stuff. And we'll sit and read history and do that. But like where he went on his own adventure was began with the periodic table. So I went to school for chemistry, right? I'm fascinated by the periodic table. So when Al began I peppered our learning environment with periodic tables. When he decided to start studying the periodic table on his own, I was like pretty impressed. But you know how it is. It's here today, gone tomorrow type of thing. We're now deeply invested in where the periodic table left, which was the actual study of geology. And again, I guess what I'm trying to emphasize is children want to learn and want to educate themselves. And I will tell you from the homeschooling perspective, the one thing that I can tell you 100% made the difference is we do not have televisions in our house. Yeah, we're all with our little devices. But in our living room, in our house, in our bedrooms, there is no televisions on this property. Which means that, like, in our house, it is television free. So when he sits in the living room, the option is to read, play games, do Legos, anything but turn on a device. And I can see the difference even amongst other homeschoolers. That is the absolute difference between this thing that I'm trying to do versus just homeschooling. Because what's the point of teaching them to be a robot from your home, right? Like, and I guess so I'm just making this as an encouraging video is trust the truth that your children want to learn. Absolutely. And I can say the thing about the only other thing that's I'm really like hard ass about is the musical instrument thing. And it was like a year of making him go to drum lessons, but now dude loves drums, loves drum lessons, listens to music, likes to go to concerts to check out the drums, and the whole thing is super invested in his musical instrument. And at 9 years old, I fully trust the process at this point. You know, we've been doing this for a while now. And it all started with teaching him to read. And how I taught him to read is I sat and we read Gulliver's Travels, start to finish. And it was brutal. We would sit on the couch and read it. And we got through it. And then I forgot what the next book we read together was. But at a certain point, he just found the path. And what I would say was the reason that he got interested in reading is I didn't try the old lame way, which is the like having him reading about Jack and Jill, and we jumped right into a book that was over his supposed comprehension level, and we went for it, and we would stop and we would talk about what words meant, and we would do the things that are required to read. And now that I'm 5 years into this process of homeschooling, I will tell you that the children's desire to learn far outweighs your ability to teach them. And so with that premise, all you really have to do is eliminate the poison, i.e. the televisions and the video games. Like, we've never had any of that. He's completely uninterested in them either. That's the fascinating thing about him. Like, when he's around other children, he is 100% uninterested in those ideas or concepts. He is all about his geology. When he has his friends over, they're outside in the rocks doing their thing, and I guess what I'm just trying to say is the homeschooling thing is super empowering, because you realize how powerful human beings are and how powerful your child is and how beautiful it is to watch them absorb the information they want to absorb. And fundamentally, I mean, with this caveat, like, I am adamant about math. That is one thing that I am unyielding about, is math. He is required to do math pretty regularly. We take breaks from it, because you got to take breaks from it, but he does. That is the one thing that I'm 100% about, is math, reading, musical instrument. And with those three things, everything else is possible. Everything else is possible. We're even to the point where we were a little behind with spelling, and he's catching up with that just because he wants to be able to write about his geology. That was the trick, was to get him interested in writing, because he wasn't that interested in it. But now he'll write little stories about his geology trips. So again, because I remember when we would first do the language and the writing stuff, he would be, he couldn't grasp writing, what to write about. When they would be like, make a sentence about this, it would just be like blank, and I used to trip. But now it's like he just writes about what he's passionate about, which is this geology thing. So where I was worried, it has sort of backfilled itself. And it's a super powerful experience. And I think I'll start making some more videos about the homeschooling thing. And look at that. I've been kind of tripping looking in the camera. Like, it's a beautiful day. We're heading out into the desert to go rockhounding today, right now. So with that said, links down below. Use the name tags, be kind to people, and it's definitely worthwhile to homeschool your child. I will say that.